Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to our latest webcast that we're bringing you from Travel Weekly. And I'm joined today by Alison Earnshaw, who is, of course, the UK Managing Director of World Travel Holdings. That's the parent company of Cruise 118, of Six Star Cruises, and of rivervoyages.com. So, Alison, welcome. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And you?
Yeah, really good. And so delighted you've joined us today. It's your first time on a webcast with me. But there's a good reason for that because you're celebrating a number of anniversaries. It's the 15th anniversary of the business and your fifth anniversary as MD. So lots to celebrate.
Yeah, absolutely. In some ways, it's gone by in a flash, and in some ways, it feels like I've never worked anywhere else. Yeah,
Oh,
15 years. Yeah,
but you were there, weren't you, right from the outset? So you were part of
yeah.
that.
Part of the setup team, yeah, in 2008. So I'd come from a cruise and travel background, and the merger between my travel and Thomas Cook resulted in us setting up Cruise 118, as was at the time. That was our only brand. So it is Cruise 118 that's 15 this year. Six Star Cruises will be 15 next year. So, obviously, that started a year after. So, yeah, and specialised in cruise. It was a growth part of the industry. It still is, and one of the most exciting sectors within travel.
Wow. And so what were you doing then when it set up? You said you were part of the setup team, but what were you particularly looking
Yes,
after?
yeah, I looked after product and commercial then. So dealing with all the cruise lines, all our commercial relationships, all the setup from that side. And obviously work closely with the rest of the exec team who set the business up.
Wow. Okay. Well, I want to talk about all the changes you've seen in those 15 years because you talk about, I mean, cruise 15 years ago was quite different. I was the cruise reporter then, so I feel like I've shared your journey in many ways. But let's just talk about the anniversary first of all, because you've got quite a lot going on, haven't you, to mark that, both with customers and also with your team. So tell us what you've got planned.
We've got a huge amount planned for both employees and customers, and the things that are important to them is our focus within that. So from a customer perspective, we have 15 cruises to give away to celebrate the 15th year. We have rewards for customers who have made 15 bookings with us. We have a good number of customers who've done that
Wow.
many transactions with us, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
From an employee perspective, we are sending 15 people who are yet to be chosen and nominated on a special trip, 15 places,
Oh,
and
that's
we
so
are also,
nice. Can you
yeah,
tell us where? Can you tell us
no, because I don't
on a
know yet.
cruise? Is it on a
It might
cruise?
be on a cruise, it might be. They often are when we do special trips. It may
Oh,
well
that's
be.
so that's
Great.
people who've worked with you for a long time, or are they got to earn that
Any No,
skill?
anybody can enter. So basically, we will do a number of initiatives over a few months, and they can be nominated by their colleagues.
That's
We
lovely.
can pick them as a management team for something outstanding they've done within the business for their contribution. So anybody within the business can win their place on that. And we'll also do prizes for 15 months, so a number of opportunities for our people to win. We're also giving something back because that's important too. We'll be planting 15,000 trees as part of a sustainability pledge. That is the equivalent of 360 tons of carbon emission replacement,
Wow.
which is
Where
100 international flights.
where are you planting the trees? Is that local or abroad somewhere? Where?
It will be across the country, so there's not somewhere
Okay.
particularly down the road. It will be all around the country.
Probably
So
got enough trees in Chorley anyway.
we've probably got a lot of
Yeah.
trees in Chorley, yeah. And then lastly, another 15, we'll be doing 15 charitable events or activities throughout the year. We started by doing the Yorkshire Three Peaks last month.
It's
So that was tough. So other things, because we like our employees to get involved with various things, and charities are important, and it's good to give something back.
amazing. Well, look, you probably mentioned your employees there 4 or 5 times. It's clearly so important to you. And I wonder if you can just sort of bring us up to speed on how the team has changed as it's grown in those 15 years. Well, I mean, how many are you now? Presumably the last few years has been a bit of a challenge. I imagine you may have lost some, but give us an idea of how big the business is in terms of your team.
Yeah, absolutely. We're about 170 employees at the moment and growing. We were slightly higher than that pre-pandemic, and obviously, as you said, lost people through the pandemic for a number of reasons, and are now and have been for some time building that business back up. So back at 170, but growing all the time. We're recruiting currently for a number of roles. One of the most beneficial things from that, one of the most things that makes us most proud is we're seeing people who left the business pre-pandemic uncertainty of travel, wanting to do something different, starting to come back to the business. So that feels really good. Seeing faces of people who used to be big parts of our business coming back to the team. So
What
yeah,
do they say? Where did they go? They just went into totally different sectors, did they? But
totally,
the pull of travel has got them.
absolutely. We all say, don't we? I've always worked in travel, that once you've worked in travel, you'll never go anywhere else. And that's what people say when they come back. So we've had people who've gone to just work in retail generally, who've gone into hospitality industry. We've had people who went to work in care homes. So something totally different in terms of career path. But as you said, had the travel bug and wanted to come back. And I think that the industry is starting to get back on its feet now in terms of employees feeling confident in the business and in the market generally. Travel's coming back. People are wanting to travel. People have got disposable income again. And they've missed out on experiences during the pandemic. So they want to go on holiday. We're seeing that in all the reports that you guys do.
And we've talked a lot about how travel has had to kind of up its game a bit because of the reputation it had. I mean, some of that was real, some of it probably not, but we've had to kind of fight for these people really against other sectors. And if you had to kind of change you've obviously done great, or you are doing good things for your employees, but if you had to kind of change what you offer in terms of employment benefits.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think it's very different to when we set the business up, but also pre-pandemic. Employees' expectations are certainly different to what they used to be. Flexible working is obviously key. We talk about that a lot. So whilst we have an office in Chorley, around about 2/3 of our employees are based here, and we do hybrid working. So we work in the office 2 days a week, and then our staff work at home the other 3 days of the week. We do open 7 days a week, and we have some employees who choose to come and work in the office all those days, because not everyone has the facilities and the space to work in a great environment at home. So we like to have that flexibility of offering the office environment all the time. I think personally it's quite isolating working at home, and it was a challenge for me in the pandemic, all day every day in those four walls on your own. It's quite tough. But then we've got home workers, we've got people all around the country, we've got people in other countries in Europe, Spain, etc. From a consumer perspective, the customer knows no different. We provide them with all the technology and all the systems, so you can dial in remotely and you service a customer from wherever you are in the country or world.
And what about the sort of the talent shortage that we've been reporting on a lot? Like when these people, when you're growing and you say you've got these vacancies, and clearly you're getting some experienced people back, but do you also take on totally inexperienced people and they're able to train them? Is that part of your growth, do you see?
Yeah, I think that the industry has had to do that because of the loss of talent that we've had. You're absolutely right. And a combination of those things. So yes, if you can get experienced employees who've done this role before, quite obviously they can hit the ground running in terms of their knowledge and experience, etc. So it takes longer to train someone up. But one of the things that we do find is if you train someone up who's got the right attitude and the right desire to want to succeed, you can learn a product and you can learn a system, but you can't teach an attitude. So we look for people who've got the right approach to business and work that would fit in with our business. Whilst we are 170 employees, we pride ourselves in still having quite a small business feel. People that work for us say all the time that they feel heard, they feel important. We've got channels that they can feedback their ideas. So I think that helps in terms of us bringing people on who are new to the industry, because there's lots of support and it's one team. Everybody wants to help everybody else to grow and to achieve our goals. So yeah, we've got a real mix of brand new people within the industry. But you need that expertise as well, absolutely, because that brings on those new people too.
Yeah, absolutely. And presumably most people are in a sales function, but I guess you're having to, you've got marketing, social media now. I mean, are you sort of seeing other areas grow?
Yeah, absolutely. So marketing, product, finance, HR, you've got to have all the functions. The vast majority of our resources clearly sales and service concierge, but we do have all those other back office functions as well. And we definitely balance having in-house skills, but we are quite good, and we've certainly done this post-pandemic, in investing a slightly different way and outsourcing some skills. So you can't have the best, most up-to-date skills and knowledge in everything in a business of 170 employees. So we're not frightened to bring in very specific expertise and specialism from other third parties that we work with, and those relationships have really built us and given us some scale that is sometimes needed, but maybe is not needed every day or every week.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that balance of having our own employees and working with specialists has really served us well post-pandemic. I would say that's one of the things that we've changed strategically as part of coming out of the pandemic.
So what kind of services the expertise, what kind of thing?
So some tech things, so it could be PPC, it could be SEO, it could be some web development. Again, you can scale up and down, and you make sure that you're up to date with the most specialist knowledge from a particular sector. So the balance of having that in-house resource and external resources worked really well for us.
Yeah, really good. I'm struck by the fact that you took over pretty much, then went into a pandemic.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned it a couple of times. Whilst I don't want to harp on about it because we've been through it now, but it must have taught you a lot. It must have shaped you. It must have, I don't know whether you felt like, my God, what am I doing? But how did it affect you? And you mentioned there that was one thing that's come out of the pandemic in the way that you run the business. What did it change, and how did the pandemic shape how you run the business now and how you are?
Yeah. Oh wow. How long have you got? I think my first year was 2019, and we had a record year, and it all started so well. And I'm
not looking really good.
Absolutely. I'm not sure you've ever. One of the things I've thought in hindsight, I'm not sure you're ever ready for it. So lots of key, great, enormous situations in our life, I'm not sure you can prepare for. I've not got children, but people say having a child, you're never really ready for it. Don't wait until you're ready. I would say that that's similar about becoming the manager of a successful business and being the one that has to take that forward. I'm not sure you're ever ready, but surrounding yourself with the best possible people, that would be the one thing I would tell anyone. Don't be afraid to take on people who are better than you in certain areas, who have different skills and different strengths. We've definitely got the strongest exec and management team we've ever had. And I think part of that comes from gelling together in a pandemic. When you've been through something like that is such, I hope, once in a lifetime, and it's existential. It's not just a small problem, and it went on for so much longer than anybody could possibly have anticipated. Thankfully, because I think if we knew it was going to last that long, it would have been so much worse. So I think everything changes. I think the decisions that you make, the responsibility that you hold, you have, in our case, going up for 200 jobs on your shoulders, and can you trade the business through that? And the decisions that you make, and everybody is looking to you as an individual and or a team to have all the answers. And I think that how we dealt with it was something that I am intrinsically as a person, but as we are as a business, we're very open, we're very honest. We don't hide behind anything. If a customer wants to get hold of me, it is quite possible for a customer to get hold of me. In the same way that I'm very accessible to our employees, we did Q&As, we did director updates. We answered the tough questions. Even if we didn't always have the answers, we said we didn't have the answers. And I think that got us a lot of credibility and support from our people, because you've just got to be honest and tell people what is going on and what's going well and what's not going well.
About you, Alison, when I've met you, you do like to just be very honest and tell people what you think.
Yes, I think I have that reputation.
What do you think of my dress at the AAA's? Don't repeat it on here. But no, we love that about you. And I think, all joking aside, people want to just know the facts, don't they? Particularly, and it's a very different. You don't want to sugarcoat things when it's very, very serious and there's a lot at stake. So I think that sounds like it was a strategy that worked for you. And then talk to us then about how you've come out of the pandemic. I mean, you said you had this record year in 2019, which a lot of people had that, didn't they? It was going so well. How are you finding trading now? Are you back to 2019 levels, close to them, beyond, surpassed them? Where are you now?
Yeah, back to 19 levels. We've got 3 brands, as you mentioned at the beginning. So Cruise 118, which is our mainstream brand, 6 Star Cruises, which obviously specialises in ultra luxury, and River Voyages. The brands have definitely recovered at different rates. So the high-end luxury recovered first. So that out of the 3 brands is performing the strongest. We're absolutely one of the biggest and longest serving specialists in luxury cruise, and one of the biggest in Europe. So that's definitely a brand that has come back strongly. That customer can weather some of the cost of living crisis that we're seeing, that their situation's different.
Sorry, just to stop you there. When you say they're one of the biggest in Europe, then, so UK is your core source market, but you're selling outside of the UK as well?
No, we don't sell outside. Just in terms of all of the agents that trade in the UK and in Europe, our sales figures are greater than agencies in Europe as well as agencies in the UK. So no, we only trade in the UK.
And what do you put that down to the fact that you've been doing this for nearly 15 years in having a specialist luxury division?
Absolutely, yeah. And people that have been with the business for that long, who just intrinsically know, they have the expertise in making sure the customer gets the service they need and require, are entitled to, and also gets the right holiday, they come back to you. It's not rocket science.
Yeah. So the people that answer the phone to a 6-star cruises customer are different. You don't have to switch across. You've got a set people who are on 118.
Yes. Yeah. Which was one of the reasons for setting the brand up in the first place, in that I don't know the exact number, but I suspect we sell 30 cruise lines in excess of. You cannot be an expert in 30 cruise lines. So ring fencing 6-star cruises and having 8 to 10 cruise lines on that particular brand, you can know about the very, very specific, minute detail that those customers want to know, and rightly so, when they're spending the amount of money that they're spending on a holiday. So we absolutely ring fence those sales agents, so those sales concierge, service concierge. We've got product and marketing specialists in those brands as well. So from end to end, we've got people who eat, breathe and sleep just luxury cruising all the time. And the same is true of Cruise 118 from a mainstream perspective, and River Voyages from river cruising.
Yeah, absolutely. So luxury withstood the difficult situation, you would say, better than best. And so what about the other brands? Are they coming back quite strongly now?
Yeah, Cruise 118 is really starting to come back strongly. We spoke in January, you mentioned earlier, and Wave was good, Peaks was good, but I think there was still a level of uncertainty about, but what will the rest of the year bring? I would say, certainly from our perspective, every month has got better. July was the best month we've had versus 19 so far, and long may that continue, clearly. I think that the cruise lines are doing a great job in terms of continuing with new ships. We're seeing new ships, we're seeing new cruise lines, and that definitely helps to raise the profile of cruise within the customer. So yeah, Cruise 118 is coming back strongly now. River is the slowest of the brands to recover. I've been quoted as saying that previously, and we're seeing that industry wide. I think that's partly the demographic, and it's a fabulous product. I just think we need to do more as an industry about educating the customer about just what that product has to offer. Not something that can be done overnight.
No, exactly. How long has River Voyages been operating?
2011, so that's got a few years yet until it becomes 15. So yeah, the newest of our brands.
Okay. And then trends wise, in terms of what you're seeing your customers booking, like I think when we talked to you in that same article, you were saying actually there was quite a lot of late business. People were booking up quite late. Are you seeing that curve is it sort of lengthening now? Are you seeing bookings into 24, 25, or is it still quite a lot of late business?
A real mix. There is definitely some strong availability in the lates market, all three brands, and I would say very late. So the customers are booking within 2 to 3 months of travel, probably expecting to get a very good deal, which in a lot of cases they can do, but you can't quite get everything you want, which is why we always want to educate the customer about booking early. But yes, the cruise lines are going on sale earlier and earlier. So there's a lot of cruise lines on sale for summer 25. And that it always amazes me that someone will know what they want to do that far in advance, because I definitely don't.
But I guess they want if they want that suite or that particular, then it's good for cruise customers who know what they want, I guess.
Yeah, and particularly pre-pandemic, I think the industry had come a really long way in educating the customer that you get the best deal with the best choice availability if you book early. And then the pandemic throws everything out, and suddenly no one's travelling, and then suddenly
so we've got to now it's the whole process again.
I think we have got to re-educate the customer again, but there's definitely some customers who will always do that. And again, the luxury end of the market tends to book earliest. They the ships are smaller, and therefore there may only be one or two or half a dozen of a certain suite type on a certain ship. So you know as a consumer that you need to book that really quickly to be sure that that's what you get.
Yeah, but you mentioned yourself there that there's not, I mean, there's all these new ships, but there's new lines, there's new, particularly in luxury, you've got hotel companies coming into to cruising. So obviously there's going to be a lot of capacity. What are you finding you're getting total new to cruise customers? I mean, are you helping to fill all this new tonnage that's coming in online? Are you seeing more people seeing cruise as a mainstream holiday choice now?
Yeah, I think that surprisingly, I think one of the concerns of the whole industry, cruise specifically, was, again, not to dwell too much on the pandemic, but we thought, how are we ever going to get new to cruise customers after this experience?
I know, I totally agree, and it's been remarkable.
Really remarkable. I think there's a number of initiatives. Again, we work closely with the cruise lines to try and engage that new to cruise. It's not always an easy thing to do. There's certainly times where money is tighter. So in a cost of living crisis that we're currently in, the value of cruise is exceptional, and that definitely helps. So the amount
you've been really pushing that in, like,
absolutely.
What do you do? Do you just send mailers? How do you market to get new cruisers then?
A little bit of everything. So a lot of digital activity to get that lookalikes. And we absolutely bring to life the difference between this is what you would pay on land for X, Y, and Z, and this is what you actually
a direct comparison.
Direct comparison, yeah. So you can get so much included on a cruise line. I mean, clearly I've got the cruise book. I've worked in travel all my life, but I've been in cruise for about 20 years. And I'm not sure I was wholly engaged by cruise when I first started working in the industry, but you go on your first one, and as long as you get the customer on the right one, there is a cruise for everyone, and I totally buy into that.
You sound like
Andy Harmer.
I was going to turn into Andy Harmer.
But and that's where the agent is so valuable in bringing that independent expertise, specialism, and knowledge to make sure that you get that new to cruise customer on the right ship. Because if you don't, they won't come back, because the experience is really quite different. So yeah, we do lots of digital activity, and we do bring to life the inclusions that you get in a cruise.
So you're saying actually it's obviously rubbish that we're in a cost of living crisis, but it's enabled you to have this good marketing message to people, and it's working, that people see that comparative value. Yeah,
cruise does tend to come to life a little bit when money is tighter for the customer, because you can just have everything included.
Yeah. And do they and you cruise lines themselves, have they been adding more in? Have they been giving you, putting more value in to help you with that? You're saying you work closely with them to try and get you to cruise. What have you found the lines themselves have done to help you do your job?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think certainly from a Cruise 118 point of view, so the mainstream cruise lines are including more. So they clearly recognise that a customer wants to pay one price and not really be too worried about an exchange rate or what they're going to have to spend getting a drink or a coffee or whatever else it might be on as part of their holiday. So there are more and more packages that you can add on to supplement your cruise. So there might be a base price, but you can buy a drinks package or you can buy an excursion package. So that the customer really can budget.
Inclusive, you can still get a package, and you're seeing more of that available.
Which I think is important to have the choice, because we do certainly have some customers who feel they're supplementing other customers because they don't drink or they don't want to have the excursions, but their price has gone up if everything's always included.
So actually the package options, and there's probably varying ones, isn't there?
Absolutely. So that gives maximum flexibility, so you can appeal to a broader range of customers. So I think that's smart by the cruise lines, and we certainly use that. I think it's valuable to existing cruise customers as well, that they recognise the value of the packages, because they've maybe travelled before and not had them. So I think it works for new and existing.
Exactly what they want, where the value is for them. They can choose, some will want Wi-Fi, some won't care about it at all. Okay. All right. What controversial question, but what could the cruise lines do more? You say they're doing really well in that respect. They've recognized that these packages are useful and that they're effective. But what could they do more? I mean, this is your chance to tell them, Alison. What would help you on a day-to-day basis, or if you knew it was coming down the line in future, what would you like to see them do?
Yeah, I think work with us on technology. The customers don't want to wait for information, and therefore we're on the front line of that, and we need to be able to answer the question. Information at your fingertips, accurate pricing on at your fingertips, availability and live pricing onto our website without us having to interact with that. Answering the phone, I wouldn't say we are wholly out of the other side from a pandemic challenges where there are long wait times with some cruise lines to get through. We've got to fix that. I recognise it's
what kind of wait times could you be experiencing in
with a couple of cruise lines?
You don't have to.
I'm not going to tell you which one. Don't worry. Which ones? There's a couple where we might be waiting in excess of an hour to get through, and the customer doesn't understand why that is just the case.
Out of interest, do you then think, sod it, I'll sell another cruise line? Or do you have to then explain to the customer and say, look, I'll get back to you, as soon as I get an answer, I'll contact you? Or what would you do?
Yeah, a combination of the two, because if the customer really wants a particular product, then the customer is king, and you've got to sell the customer what they want, as you should. And so then you're down to explaining and managing customer expectations. That was what we would try to do. So yeah, a little bit of the two. I think that we're not quite out of the some of the downsides of the pandemic in that regard, but that is definitely the minority.
Okay, but where they've got maybe a bit of a resourcing issue, that as soon as they could up staff and get those phones answered, that would be good.
Providers early access, early information to things. Sometimes we can't maximize a campaign or a launch because we just got the data now. This has gone on sale 10 minutes ago. We could have done so much with that if we'd have known that was coming. Now, that's not always in the control of the UK. Sometimes that comes from the cruise lines head offices, but that's something that we feed back to the cruise lines, that I think we could make more of that if we had more advanced knowledge. There are customers who absolutely want to be the first to book on a new ship or first to book a new season. So the more information that we've got to enable us to get that data to the customer so that they are further down the booking funnel, by the time the product goes on sale, the more sales you get.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you find that sometimes their direct customers get information before you get it, or does that happen? I mean, I don't know how I wonder how it works, because I know cruise lines. I'm not trying to be difficult, because actually I know cruise lines really need the trade, and by and large they are, really, really supportive. But I do hear sometimes that sort of niggle that, like you're saying, if you could just have it a bit in advance rather than it all being out at the same time, you've all got to scramble. And I just wonder if there's what you're seeing with that sort of direct piece.
Yeah, I think it does happen. I whether it is intentional or not, I'm not 100% sure, but it's something that we try to work with the cruise lines on. Increasingly in the pandemic, there was a shift where customers were increasingly going direct to the cruise lines, and obviously that is a challenge and a threat for the retail industry and for online agents like us. I think, however, from a future of the travel agent and for us as a business within that community, we've got to add value as an agent. So to compete with the cruise lines direct, we've got to differentiate. We've got to provide the customer with choice, whether that's product or method of communication or method of booking, whether that's in advice, independent advice that I mentioned before, and bringing some personality and relationship into the process. You can book online, you can book direct, and we offer online booking, but purchasing a holiday should still be an exciting experience.
Do people book fully online with you, or do they want to speak
they do.
So do they not ring a consultant at any point?
So both. So the vast majority of our business still comes through our sales agents. Right. But increasingly, we launched a new online booking journey for Cruise 118 only, so we don't offer online booking on our other two brands, in January, and it's taken an increasing amount of our business. I think that's a combination.
What kind of value? What will people spend in a complete end-to-end online booking? Is it?
It's a reasonable amount. I would say that increasingly pre-pandemic, I think that customers were more cautious about parting with huge amounts of money online without speaking to a person, to your point. But I think the pandemic changed all our booking patterns, and we had to transact online because you couldn't go down to the shops and you couldn't do as much in person in retail. So I think the customer has become more confident in transacting online. it wouldn't be unusual for us to do £3,000-4,000 bookings online. We've done ones in excess of that, but the vast majority still does come through our sales agents.
And do they want to speak to the same? Can they speak to someone that if they want the same? I mean, if you've got 170 odd people in your business, but can they get through to the one they like that they're used to dealing with?
Yeah, we offer that service very specifically on 6-star, because that customer is more likely to want that personal service, and our repeat rate on that brand is very high. So we invested in a new telephony system last year, which absolutely intelligently routes the customer through to our salesperson. So you wouldn't need to press an option or tell us who you were. We would recognise your phone number and we would deliver you to person X who dealt with you before. Clearly, they can't be available 24/7, and they have holidays as well. So we give the customer. No, it shouldn't be allowed. We give the customer the choice then to speak to the service desk or to one of the colleagues, or they can leave a message and they can wait for that person. Very much depends on the individual customer and the query. So it could be something that will wait until someone's back from leave or day off, or it could be something that's quite straightforward query and they're happy to speak to anybody. So yeah, we do offer that service, slightly less so on Cruise 118, but you could still absolutely engage directly with our person. They've got direct lines, and they would communicate via email with their customers as well.
And do you see yourselves ever moving that, complete online bookability onto 6-star, or is it just not the right product for?
No, I don't.
They want the concierge, they want the full service.
Yeah, absolutely. The cruise lines don't have the technology in terms of their online bookability themselves anyway. Right. Which suggests that they also don't believe that that's how that customer wants to transact.
So, and you think what the luxury lines don't have it in the way the mainstream lines do. So, and they probably for the same reason, and they want to be able to have somebody there to upsell and explain, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. That customer wants some very specialist knowledge. Some of the things that we are asked about: cabin dimensions, suite dimensions, how long is it to get from A to B on the ship?
Yeah,
all kinds of things that we get asked. As I said before, rightly so. These customers are spending a significant amount of money with us.
But you said that you're seeing some interesting growth, though, in terms of the mainstream business, in terms of people being prepared to book online.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
post-pandemic,
I think that will just continue.
Yeah, we've streamlined the booking journey. We've made it easier. We've got there is more information available through the technology that we've implemented, but also that the cruise lines have improved how they can provide that data to us to pass on to the customer. So I think ease of booking is key. Price is key. And convenience. You can transact online at any time of night or day. Increasingly, we've been very busy as the market returns. So it's not always that you can get through to us on Cruise 118 in particular straight away, but we make it really easy for you to book online.
Yeah.
What another thing that surprised me from our online bookings is a good proportion of that is incremental business. New customers who've never booked with us before are choosing to transact with us online, which surprises me.
And is that to do with the demographic? Potentially, is it younger?
It is younger. Yeah, I think overall, and a number of cruise lines have had this conversation with recently, that their demographic post-pandemic or last couple of years has started to come down. So all the great work we've been doing as an industry to encourage more customers to try cruise, we are definitely, and it's small. We're not suddenly sending all 20-year-olds on cruises, but the range and the overall average age has definitely started to come down. Yeah. So those customers are going to be more confident about booking online.
Yeah. How much of what you're selling, Ali, is just the pure cruise from the cruise line, or are you making it like your own package because you're doing pre and post and you're making something unique to your business?
Yeah, good proportion of our business is packaged now. So we will sell what is right for the customer. Quite often the cruise lines do have the right flights that connect. They maybe don't have the amount of regional airlift that a customer may want. But also you can add an incremental value as an agent if you provide a specialist package that does something different pre or post cruise, and you suddenly have a unique package that the customer wants to buy and sees more value in. So we do both, and increasingly we're getting back to more packaging, which I'm sure is.
Did you stop that?
Yeah, pretty much.
You stopped it, in the pandemic. So what's the split? Is it still majority?
Majority is still retail, so us being the retailer. But 30% approximately is packaged.
And you're feeling more confident now. I think everybody was like,
absolutely.
let's just stop that for a bit. But we are seeing that people are now getting their confidence back.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, goodness, we could carry on, but let's talk about your award-winning business that you're overseeing there, Alison. You've won a few awards, have you not?
We
Including
have, yes, 4 major industry awards last year. And not least AAA's, Travel Weekly's very own AAA's, which we also won this year. So we're up for a hat trick next year.
oh God, no pressure on
No
yourself.
pressure,
You've
no
said it
pressure.
now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, wrong thing to say. But yeah, it gives everybody a great boost. Does winning an award pay the bills? No. But in terms of the positivity and the enthusiasm and the pride that our employees get from seeing us win, it does mean a lot. It does mean a lot to win, most definitely.
Oh, I'm so pleased. Well, now you've told everyone you're going to win it for a third year.
Say that.
I want to finish by looking a bit further ahead, really. And I know you're not going to give your secrets away because it's quite competitive in that online cruise retail space. But you're all actually really good friends. It's actually lovely when we all get together at events because you all get on really well. And I'm sure there's enough business to go around with the growth you're talking about. But even so, I'd love to know what you think are the key opportunities that you think you might look to capitalize on as you know, let's say for the next 12 months to make sure you bag that AAA in July next year.
I'm going to rue saying that, I'm sure. I think certainly technology, again, won't be unique, but the investment in technology. So we are working on significantly improving the technology that we have within the business and working with providers who specialize in certain fields. So rather than having one provider who does everything, you can't be the best at everything. So find the best in class for your, whether it's online booking, whether it's CRM system, whether it's search and book, find best in class so that you can excel. And
then plug it into your existing.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Yeah, and get them to talk to each other. So we invested in a new telephony system last year, which I already mentioned, best in class. We need to do the same with some of our other systems. So that will be a project that takes us well beyond the 12 months that you've mentioned.
Yeah.
So the whole focus of that is improving the service that we're able to give to our customers, that we provide increased segmentation, we can personalize better, we can give the customer better data and information and everything. In every way we communicate with them, it can just be more efficient, and the efficiency of our people. So if we can make their jobs easier and more straightforward, then that makes for a happy workforce, and a happy workforce makes for a happy customer. So technology investment is definitely something that will be key to us over the next 12 months.
Well, that's the key thing, isn't it, that then enables you to be, as you say, better at CRM or better at customers. So that's obviously the big focus, and I guess that's quite an investment financially for the business. I mean, that won't be cheap, will it, if you're going for best in class?
No, absolutely, but it should return. If you have best in class, to your point, it helps your workforce, it helps your employees do the best job that they can do in the easiest manner, and it enables you to provide best in class service to your customers, who will then come back to you. Okay. So and growth.
I mean, it should work, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should work. It should work. The industry is growing. There are new cruise lines coming on. There are new cruise ships. We've talked about it. So the industry will grow. We just want a bigger share of that, and we will invest in technology and people to enable us to deliver that.
Do you worry about being? And you say you want a bigger share. Do you worry about being the biggest, the best? Like when I know I was kind of joking there, but you get together, don't you, with the others in your little competitor set quite a lot, and I know there's a bit of rivalry, but I mean, is it something you want to achieve, to be the biggest online cruise retailer?
The biggest? No, that's not something that is a real goal for us. For us, it's all about profitability. Okay. So we put that ahead of just size. We are part of WTH, as you mentioned, which is the biggest retailer of cruise in North America, and therefore the biggest in the world. So we have strength in size and financial stability that obviously enables us to give, which is great from an employee confidence perspective, from our relationships with the cruise lines. But that doesn't necessarily mean we need to be the biggest. We just focus on profit.
And are they acquisitive still as a parent company, or like clearly they've got you, and then you've developed these other sort of tranches of your business. But I mean, are there gaps that you can either grow into organically or through acquisition yourselves, or are they looking at anything else in the UK? Do you know?
Great question. I think we're happy with the business as it is, and it's doing well and it's recovering well post-pandemic. I think if there was a great opportunity, an acquisition wouldn't be off the table, but there's lots of opportunity for us to grow organically. We have a great relationship with our parent company. We have absolute mutual sharing of ideas, and recognise that whilst WTH Inc. are the largest retailer of cruise in the world, the American customer and the way the American customer transacts is not necessarily the same as it is in the UK. So we do have the autonomy to do things our own way, because that's right for the UK customer. So that dynamic works really well.
It's the perfect thing. You've got, as you say, the financial benefit, the sort of the backing and that kind of reassurance and stability, but you can do your own thing.
Absolutely, make our own decisions. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to finish by putting you on the spot. I know you hate me. Great. You keep talking about all these new ships that are coming, but what ship are you most looking forward to coming into service?
That's almost like asking me what my favourite cruise line is.
I know,
as we've mentioned in before, as Andy Harmer would say, I love all my cruise lines equally.
All right, fair enough.
Assuming you're not going to let me get away with that, I think that expedition excites me. I've not been on an expedition ship myself, and I think that lots of cruise lines are expanding into that. So that's exciting for the industry. I think it brings a new customer to cruise. So that's not naming a cruise line, so still I've not.
I think you've done well there. I think that is a brilliant diplomatic answer. That will pass. I'll let you off with that. And I think we've made a very good point here that Alison Earnshaw has not been on an expedition ship. So anybody watching this, there's an opportunity right there, I'd say.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, exactly. All right, listen, I've loved talking to you. I mean, we always have a laugh, but I can't believe I've not got you on here before, Alison, because it's just fantastic to hear what you're doing and hearing how happy the staff are, and they've got all these exciting things to come in your 15th anniversary year. So I hope we'll see and hear a lot from that as well. But we wish you all the best and continue growing as you are and doing so well.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
See you soon.